There is something profound about the value you bring into the lives of others. You are not just an individual, you are a vessel of purpose, a light that illuminates the lives of those around you. When God created you, He infused you with gifts, talents, and a spirit that cannot be replicated. You are unique, a masterpiece, and a reflection of His glory. Sometimes people fail to recognize the treasure they have in you. They take your kindness for granted, dismiss your sacrifices, and assume your presence is guaranteed. But let me remind you, the presence of light in a room is often unnoticed until it is gone. And when it's gone, darkness reminds them of what they lost. The peace you bring, the comfort you offer, and the strength you provide are not ordinary. You are a carrier of God's divine purpose, an agent of change in the lives of others. But when people choose to disregard that, when they mishandle the blessing that is you, they position themselves to face the consequences of their actions. They may think they can move on without you. They may act like your absence doesn't matter. But deep within, there will come a time when they realize the void you left behind, because peace cannot be found when you've mishandled a blessing. Peace cannot be found when you've disregarded a gift from God. Your value is eternal, not dependent on anyone's validation. You see, God has woven a tapestry of purpose into your life, and those who were privileged to share in that purpose have a responsibility to nurture and honor it. When they fail to do so, they lose the privilege of access to the peace and joy you brought into their lives. God watches over His children. He sees how you were treated, how your love was disregarded, and how your sacrifices were overlooked. And He is a just God. While they may search for peace elsewhere, they will never find the peace they once had in your presence. Because what you carry cannot be replaced. It cannot be duplicated. It is uniquely yours, designed by the Creator Himself. So do not grieve too long over those who let you go. Do not allow their inability to see your worth to diminish your value. You were chosen for a purpose, and God will position you in the lives of those who will cherish you, honor you, and walk with you in alignment with His will. You are not here by accident. When God formed you, He infused you with something extraordinary, His own image and likeness. You are a reflection of His creativity and His purpose. The gifts and talents you carry are not random, they are intentional. You were created with a divine blueprint, uniquely designed to fulfill a role that no one else can occupy. The world may try to measure your worth by superficial standards, but your value is eternal, rooted in the essence of who God has made you to be. Think about it. When God placed you on this earth, He equipped you with everything you need to carry out your purpose. The love you show, the peace you bring, the wisdom you share, these are not ordinary traits. They are manifestations of the divine working through you. And because of this, your presence has a transformative power in the lives of others. You are not just passing through life, you are leaving an indelible mark wherever you go. Your uniqueness means there is no one else like you. No one can replicate your heart, your mind, or your spirit. What you bring into the lives of others is not replaceable because it is tied to the essence of your God-given identity. This is why you must never doubt your worth. Even when others fail to see it, God sees you. He knows the treasure He placed within you, and He values you beyond measure. When you walk into a room, you carry with you the essence of who God made you to be. You are a light in the darkness, a source of hope, a reflection of His love. Some may not recognize it, but that does not diminish its power. The value of light is not dependent on whether people notice it. It is evident in the way it dispels darkness. In the same way, your presence brings peace, clarity, and purpose, even when it goes unacknowledged. You are a vessel of God's purpose, designed to bring His light into the lives of those around you. And because of this, your presence is not just meaningful, it is essential. Never underestimate the impact you have, for you are a carrier of something far greater than yourself. You carry the imprint of the Creator, and that makes you irreplaceable. People often fail to recognize the blessings they have while they have them. It is human nature to grow accustomed to what is familiar, to overlook the value of something simply because it is always there. But the truth is, the light you bring into their lives is not ordinary. Your love, your peace, your wisdom, and your presence are treasures that cannot be replaced. Yet many fail to see it because they assume that what you provide will always be available, that your sacrifice is effortless, or that your kindness has no limits. What happens when someone takes a constant source of light for granted? They fail to notice it until they are left in darkness. Your presence is like that light, a steady, comforting force that makes life brighter for those around you. You bring a peace that calms storms, a wisdom that offers clarity, and a love that heals wounds. But when this is taken for granted, when people fail to nurture or honor what you bring, they set themselves up for a painful awakening. Too often, people only appreciate what they had when it is no longer there. The peace you brought into their chaos, the strength you lent in their weakness, and the love you offered without condition, all these things become glaringly evident in their absence. Suddenly, they feel the weight of what they've lost. They may not admit it openly, but their hearts will remind them of the void you left behind. You see, the gifts you carry are not just about you. They are an extension of God's work in you. When people fail to value what God has placed in their lives through you, they are not just losing you, they are disconnecting themselves from the divine purpose you were fulfilling in their lives. And that kind of loss cannot be easily replaced or ignored. The most profound lessons often come in the absence of what we took for granted. When people lose someone who brought them peace, they are forced to confront the turmoil they allowed to remain. When they lose someone who offered them love, they must face the emptiness of their hearts. And when they lose someone who was a source of wisdom, they are left to grapple with the confusion they once escaped. You must understand that their lack of acknowledgement does not diminish your worth. Their inability to see your value does not mean you are not valuable. Instead, it is a reflection of their blindness, their inability to cherish a gift until it is gone. But rest assured, the loss of your presence will be a reminder they cannot ignore. It will echo in their hearts, in their minds, and in the places where your light once shined. What you bring into the lives of others is not just about your personality or your actions. It is rooted in something much deeper. You are a vessel of divine purpose, a carrier of God's light and love. Everything you do, every word you speak, every moment you give is an extension of the purpose God has placed within you. You were not created by accident, and your presence in the lives of others is not random. You were sent into their lives with a reason, a mission, and a purpose that flows directly from the heart of God. The peace you bring is not ordinary, it is divinely inspired. The love you show is not common, it reflects the unconditional love of God. The wisdom you offer is not yours alone, it is drawn from a well of heavenly understanding that God has placed within you. Everything you do carries the fingerprint of your Creator, and that is why it has such a profound impact on the lives of those around you. You may not even realize the full extent of the influence you have. The kind word you speak, the support you give, the sacrifices you make, these are seeds planted in the lives of others. And those seeds carry the potential to transform their hearts, to change their minds, and to inspire them toward a better future. But too often, people fail to recognize the source of that transformation. They see the results, but overlook the vessel. They experience the blessing, but fail to honor the one who brought it. You must understand, however, that your impact is not diminished by their lack of acknowledgement. The purpose you carry is far greater than their ability to recognize it. Whether they see it or not, the peace, love, and wisdom you bring are still changing lives. And even when they fail to cherish you, the imprint of your presence remains. When you enter someone's life, you are not just filling space, you are fulfilling a divine role. God has placed something within you that they need, something they cannot find elsewhere. That is why your presence brings a peace that cannot be replaced, a clarity that cannot be duplicated, and a strength that cannot be matched. But when they fail to honor that purpose, they lose far more than they realize. They may search for peace in other places, but they will not find it. They may look for love in others, but it will not compare. They may seek wisdom from different sources, but it will not resonate in the same way. Because what you bring is not just about you, it is about the God who works through you. And when someone loses a vessel of divine purpose, they lose access to the blessing that purpose was meant to bring into their lives. So never underestimate the importance of what you carry. You are not ordinary, you are extraordinary. You are not replaceable, you are unique. And the divine purpose within you is what makes your presence a gift to those who are fortunate enough to have you in their lives. When someone fails to honor the blessing that God has placed in their life through you, they are not just making a mistake, they are mishandling a divine gift. Relationships, connections, and the people we meet are not random, they are orchestrated by God with purpose and intention. He places people in our lives to bring healing, guidance, and support. But when we fail to recognize the value of those individuals, we are mismanaging something sacred. Your presence in someone's life is not an accident. It is God's way of extending His hand, His peace, and His wisdom to them through you. But mishandling a blessing has consequences. When someone disregards your love, takes your peace for granted, or dismisses the wisdom you share, they are sowing seeds of loss and regret into their own future. It's not that you wish harm upon them, but the principle is clear. When you misuse what God has given, the benefits of that blessing are withdrawn. Imagine a well overflowing with pure, life-giving water. It provides refreshment and sustenance to those who drink from it. But if someone pollutes that well or fails to care for it, they eventually lose access to the very thing that was sustaining them. Your presence is like that well. It brings peace where there is chaos, wisdom where there is confusion, and love where there is pain. But if someone fails to nurture and protect that relationship, they will find themselves parched and empty when it is gone. People often misunderstand the cost of losing a blessing. They may think they can replace it, that another person can fill the void you leave behind. But the truth is, what God places in you is unique. It cannot be replicated or substituted. When they lose you, they lose not just a person, but the peace, clarity, and love that only you were ordained to bring into their lives. This is why honoring the relationships God gives us is so important. When someone fails to do so, they are not just neglecting you, they are neglecting the God who sent you. And God does not take the mishandling of His blessings lightly. He sees the way you are treated. He sees the times you have been overlooked, undervalued, or taken for granted. And He does not ignore it. But here's the reassurance God is just. He will not allow His blessings to be wasted. When someone mishandles you, He will protect your purpose and redirect your gifts to those who will value them. And for those who fail to appreciate what they had, they will be left to wrestle with the consequences of their actions. They will search for the peace they once knew, but it will not be there. They will miss the love and support you gave, and they will come to realize that what they lost cannot be replaced. The mishandling of a divine blessing always leads to regret. Not because you are vindictive or because you want them to suffer, but because God's principles are unchanging. What is not cherished will be removed, and what is removed leaves a void that cannot be easily filled. So rest assured, even when others fail to honor you, your worth remains intact. You are a blessing, a vessel of God's goodness, and a light that cannot be extinguished. Those who mishandle you may only realize this in your absence, but by then the blessing will have moved on to where it will be honored. When you step away from a situation where you were undervalued or taken for granted, your absence creates a ripple effect far greater than anyone might expect. You see, when God places someone in your life who carries His peace, love, and wisdom, that person is not just a companion, they are a lifeline. They are a source of strength, clarity, and comfort. And when that lifeline is removed, the void it leaves behind becomes glaringly evident. For those who lost you, the absence of your presence is not just noticeable, it is life-altering. What once felt secure now feels unstable. What once brought joy now seems dull. What once made their lives easier now highlights the effort required to navigate without you. It is only in the silence, the stillness after you've gone, that they begin to truly comprehend the magnitude of your impact. Your absence has a way of exposing the cracks that were hidden by your presence. Where you once brought resolution to conflict, peace now gives way to chaos. Where your love once filled emotional voids, emptiness begins to settle in. The wisdom you shared, the encouragement you gave, and the sacrifices you made, all these things acted as a glue holding their world together. And without it, things start to unravel. It is not that you wish for their suffering, but the principle is clear. What is taken for granted will eventually be taken away. Your absence becomes a mirror that forces them to see what they lost. It compels them to reflect on their actions, their attitudes, and their inability to honor the gift that you were. And while they may try to move forward as though nothing has changed, the truth is, everything has changed. People often try to fill the void left by someone significant. They search for others to replace what they lost, hoping to regain the peace, love, or wisdom they once experienced. But replacements rarely satisfy because what God places in you is unique. It is not something that can be replicated or substituted. When they lost you, they lost the specific blessings you were ordained to bring into their lives. This realization doesn't come immediately. At first, they may believe they can adjust, that life will go on as usual. But over time, the depth of the void becomes undeniable. They begin to feel the weight of what is missing. They notice the absence of the love that healed their wounds, the peace that calmed their storms, and the wisdom that guided their decisions. And in those moments of clarity, they come to understand that your absence is more than a loss. It is a consequence of their failure to value you. For you, this is not a time to regret or second guess your decision to step away. It is a time to trust that God is redirecting you to a place where your gifts will be cherished. Your absence is not an end, it is a transition. God is faithful, and He will not allow the light He placed within you to be extinguished by those who fail to see its worth. Even as they come to terms with the emptiness your absence creates, you must continue to walk in your purpose. Their loss is not your burden to carry. Their regret is not your responsibility to mend. Your journey is moving forward, and God is leading you to people and places that will honor the blessings you bring. So let the absence speak for itself. Let it teach the lessons they refused to learn when you were there. And as they come to understand the true value of what they lost, trust that God's plan for you remains intact. You are not defined by their failure to appreciate you. You are defined by the purpose and calling God has placed on your life. And that purpose will continue to shine even in the spaces where your light is no longer present. When God removes you from a situation where your value is ignored or your presence is taken for granted, it is not just a random event. It is a divine act of protection and purpose. You see, God does not allow His chosen ones to linger in environments where their gifts, their light, and their essence are not cherished. His plan for your life is too precious, too significant to be squandered in a place where it cannot flourish. Your removal is not about rejection, it is about redirection. God sees what you cannot see. He knows the hearts of those around you, their intentions, and their inability to honor what He has placed within you. When He calls you away, it is not to punish you or to leave them in peace. It is to position you for greater opportunities, greater relationships, and greater fulfillment. Think of a seed planted in rocky soil. No matter how much water it receives, it cannot grow because the environment is not suitable. But when that same seed is planted in fertile ground, it flourishes and bears fruit. You are that seed, and God knows the soil where you will thrive. By removing you from unappreciative environments, He is transplanting you into the fertile ground of His purpose. For those who lose you, your removal is a wake-up call. It forces them to confront the reality of their actions or inactions. They are left to reflect on how they handled the blessing God gave them. While you may have been a source of peace, love, and wisdom, they may not have seen it that way. They may have taken it lightly, believing that your presence was permanent or easily replaced. But when you are gone, the absence of your light creates a darkness they cannot ignore. And yet God does not allow them to remain comfortable in that darkness. Your removal is not just a shift for you, it is a lesson for them. It challenges them to grow, to change, and to reevaluate their attitudes and behaviors. The peace you brought is no longer there to shield them from their own turmoil. The love you gave is no longer there to soften their edges. The wisdom you shared is no longer there to guide their steps. They are left to navigate without the anchor God provided through you. But even in their discomfort, God's purpose remains. He uses your absence to teach them the value of what they had. It may not happen immediately, but over time they begin to realize that losing you was not just losing a person, it was losing a divine connection, a channel of God's grace and goodness. And as they wrestle with that realization, they are faced with a choice to continue in their ways or to transform and grow. For you, this is a time of elevation. While they are learning their lessons, God is preparing you for new blessings. He is opening doors you never imagined, introducing you to people who will celebrate your gifts and placing you in environments where your value will be recognized and nurtured. The loss they experience becomes the gain you receive. Their regret becomes your redirection. Trust the process, even when it feels painful or uncertain. Trust that God's plan is unfolding perfectly. He does not remove you from a situation without a greater purpose in mind. And while others may mourn your absence, you can rest in the assurance that God is moving you into a season of growth, abundance, and divine fulfillment. You are not leaving something behind. You are stepping into what God has prepared for you all along. When God orchestrates your removal from someone's life, it is not merely an end, it is a beginning. The absence you leave is not only a reminder of your value, but also a catalyst for their growth and transformation. In their loss, they are forced to grapple with the reality of their own shortcomings, their ungratefulness, and their inability to cherish the gift that you were. This process is not about punishing them, but about awakening them. The void you leave is not just empty space, it is a mirror. It reflects back to them the areas in their lives that were softened and illuminated by your presence. It shows them the times they were comforted by your love, steadied by your wisdom, or uplifted by your encouragement. And in that reflection, they begin to see the contrast between the life they had with you and the life they must now face without you. But God does not leave them to simply wallow in regret. Your absence serves as a divine intervention, an opportunity for them to seek Him more deeply. When the peace you brought is no longer there, they must look to God to find true peace. When the love you gave is no longer felt, they are prompted to seek God's unfailing love. When your wisdom no longer guides them, they must turn to God's infinite wisdom. In this way, your departure becomes a bridge that leads them back to the one who placed you in their life in the first place. For them, this journey is not easy. Growth rarely is. It requires them to confront their pride, their selfishness, and their inability to appreciate what they had. It forces them to ask hard questions. Why did they fail to value you? Why did they take you for granted? And most importantly, how can they change to ensure they never make the same mistake again? These are not questions with easy answers, but they are the kind of questions that lead to transformation. And while they are learning these lessons, you are stepping into the fullness of your purpose. God is not just removing you from their life, He is moving you to higher ground. He is placing you in spaces where your gifts will be celebrated, your voice will be heard, and your heart will be treasured. You are not just someone's loss, you are God's chosen vessel, being positioned for greater impact and deeper fulfillment. In their struggle to find peace, they may attempt to replace you, to fill the void with others who seem similar, but replacements cannot bring the same blessings because what God placed within you is unique. Your love, your wisdom, your spirit, these are irreplaceable. They may search far and wide, but they will come to realize that the peace they seek cannot be found outside of God's plan. This realization is part of their growth. It humbles them, teaches them gratitude, and prepares them to honor the blessings God brings into their lives in the future. And while they are on this path, you can rest in the assurance that your journey is progressing as it should. You are not bound by their inability to grow. You are free to walk into the destiny God has for you, carrying with you the knowledge that your absence was not a loss, it was a divine act of love and purpose. God's plan is always perfect. Your role in their life was significant, but it was never meant to last forever. By leaving, you have given them the chance to change, to grow, and to become better. And by stepping into what God has next for you, you are honoring the purpose for which you were created. Their journey continues without you, and so does yours, both shaped by God's divine wisdom and endless love. When God removes you from a place where you were undervalued, misunderstood, or taken for granted, it is not just a moment of separation, it is a moment of elevation. Your life, your purpose, and your calling are too significant to remain in an environment that fails to honor them. But here's what is profound. Even as God elevates you, He uses your absence as a powerful tool for those you leave behind. In your absence, they are faced with the undeniable truth of what you meant to their lives. They may not have recognized it while you were present, but the weight of your value becomes clear the moment you are no longer there. Your absence disrupts their comfort, their routines, and their sense of normalcy. The wisdom you once shared, the peace you once brought, and the love you once gave are no longer at their disposal. And it is in that void that they begin to see what they could not see before, that you were a gift, a blessing uniquely placed in their life by God Himself. This realization does not come easily. At first, they may try to carry on as though nothing has changed. They may attempt to fill the gap with other people or distractions, believing they can replace what has been lost. But soon, the futility of their efforts becomes evident. What you brought into their life was not something that can be replicated or substituted. It was divine, tailored specifically to their needs and circumstances. And as the days, weeks, and months go by, the absence of your presence begins to echo louder than the noise of their distractions. In this process, God is working in their hearts. He is showing them the importance of gratitude, the value of relationships, and the necessity of honoring the people He places in their lives. Your absence becomes a lesson, a mirror that reflects their own actions, attitudes, and behaviors. They are left to examine why they did not value you as they should have. And this examination is not just about regret, it is about transformation. But the beauty of God's plan is that while they are learning these lessons, He is preparing you for something greater. Your departure was not just about them, it was about you too. God saw the limitations of where you were, the hindrances to your growth, and the obstacles to your purpose. By removing you, He was positioning you for an elevation you could not achieve if you remained. And as you rise, you become a testimony. Your life becomes a visible representation of what happens when someone walks in obedience to God's calling. Those who once overlooked you will see the fruit of your elevation, and it will serve as both an inspiration and a reminder. They will see that your value was not diminished by their lack of recognition. It was affirmed by God's hand on your life. The peace they seek after losing you is not something they can find on their own. It is a peace that only comes from God. And in their search for that peace, they are drawn closer to Him. Your absence becomes a catalyst for their spiritual awakening, leading them to reflect on what truly matters and to seek the one who never leaves nor forsakes them. For you, this is a season of thriving. While they are learning and growing, you are stepping into a new chapter, one filled with opportunities, blessings, and relationships that honor the fullness of who you are. God's elevation is not just about lifting you higher, it is about planting you where your light can shine brighter and your purpose can flourish fully. In the end, the absence you leave is not a loss, it is a seed. It plants the possibility of change, growth, and transformation in those you leave behind. And for you, it marks the beginning of a new journey, one where your value is recognized, your gifts are celebrated, and your life reflects the glory of God's perfect plan. When God removes you from someone's life, it is often misunderstood as a loss, but in reality, it is a divine shift that opens the door for greater things. You are not simply being taken away, you are being repositioned for your next level of destiny. For the person who loses you, your departure serves as a stark reminder of what they failed to see and appreciate while you were there. But it is also a reminder of God's sovereignty and His ability to orchestrate the perfect timing for everything. The truth is, God knows the heart and intentions of everyone around you. He knows when a relationship, a situation, or an environment is no longer aligned with your purpose, no longer conducive to your growth. He understands when you've outgrown a place or a person, and He knows when it's time to move you to where you will thrive. His purpose for your life is too great to be hindered by people who cannot see or respect the value you bring. This is where the real beauty of God's plan emerges. While your absence stirs up regret in others, it draws you closer to your divine purpose. You see, God does not remove you for the sake of causing discomfort or pain in someone else's life. He removes you so that you can step into the fullness of who He created you to be. You are being repositioned for new opportunities, new relationships, and new levels of influence that will allow you to fulfill the calling on your life. For the person who loses you, they must now face the consequences of their actions or inactions. The peace that once filled their life because of you has vanished, leaving them with a sense of unrest. The love that you freely gave is no longer available, and they must now experience the void that is left in your absence. This void is not just a temporary emptiness, it is a divine opportunity for them to reflect and grow. Sometimes people need to experience the absence of something valuable in order to realize its worth. In their loss, they are being forced to confront their own shortcomings and the way they treated the relationships in their life, especially the one with you. God uses this time to bring about growth in them, just as He uses your elevation to bring growth to you. While they are struggling with the consequences of losing you, you are moving forward, growing stronger, and stepping into a new season of abundance. Your life is no longer tethered to something that was draining you or keeping you from your true calling. You are free to soar into the opportunities God has waiting for you. And while they may search for peace, they will come to understand that true peace cannot be found in anything or anyone other than God. Your absence forces them to turn inward, to ask themselves the difficult questions that lead to transformation. The beauty of this process is that it is a win-win scenario. While you are elevating, they are being given the chance to evolve. Your absence is not just a sign of what they have lost, it is a sign of what they can gain if they allow God to work in their hearts. Their struggle becomes a stepping stone for their own spiritual and personal growth, leading them to a deeper understanding of their own needs and desires. In the end, while they may never fully replace what you brought into their life, your absence will push them toward their own journey of healing and transformation. And for you, this is the moment where you rise into the fullness of your potential. God's plan for your life does not depend on anyone else's recognition or validation. It is about your obedience, your trust in His process, and your willingness to step into the future He has designed for you. Your value is not diminished by their inability to appreciate you. It is affirmed by God's sovereign plan and His perfect timing. As you continue to grow, they will begin to realize that what they lost was never truly theirs to keep. It was a gift from God, something meant to elevate them, challenge them, and teach them. The peace they sought after losing you may never be the same, but it will lead them back to the one who holds all peace. And for you, the journey forward is one of purpose, promise, and divine elevation. When you leave someone's life, it often creates a deep sense of disturbance, not only for them, but also for their surroundings. The absence of your presence is like the sudden loss of an important piece in a puzzle that they never realized was the key to completing the picture. What they didn't fully understand while you were there is that you were a catalyst for their growth, a source of inspiration, and a bearer of peace and love. Now that you are gone, they are left with the undeniable truth that you were not just a fleeting part of their existence, you were essential to their emotional and spiritual balance. God's plan is strategic. He often removes us from situations and people that no longer align with the greatness He has destined for us. Sometimes the very people who take us for granted need to experience our absence to understand the depth of what we offered. They never truly saw your worth until the moment they realize they no longer have access to it. It is in this painful realization that they begin to understand the significance of what was once right in front of them. The love, the wisdom, the grace you gave, they will soon recognize that they were basking in a gift from God, but they failed to honor it while it was in their life. The void created by your absence is not something that can easily be filled by anyone else. They may try to replace you with others, but no one can replicate the unique way you touched their life. The peace you provided, the advice you shared, the support you gave, these things are irreplaceable. What they will find is that others may come into their life, but no one will ever bring the same blend of qualities, the same understanding, the same presence that you brought. It is in that void that they experience restlessness, a kind of inner turmoil, because they are now dealing with the repercussions of how they once treated you. Your absence will not just affect their emotions, it will challenge their entire perspective on relationships. They will begin to question their decisions, asking themselves why they did not value you as they should have. What they failed to realize is that they had an opportunity to grow with you, to experience the blessings you brought into their life, but because of their own insecurities, misjudgments, or lack of awareness, they pushed you away or took you for granted. Now, in your absence, they are confronted with the painful truth that they were blind to something precious. But here's the profound reality: your departure is not just about their loss, it is about their chance to change, to evolve, and to understand the importance of valuing people before it is too late. Your absence becomes a wake-up call for them. It serves as a powerful message that nothing in life is guaranteed. People, relationships, and opportunities are not always permanent, and it is in the moments when you are gone that they will learn the value of what you brought into their life. God's timing is perfect. He uses your absence to teach them lessons they would never have learned if you had remained. As they search for peace, they will find that it cannot be found in external sources. It is not something that can be filled by new people or distractions. Peace comes from within, and for them, it will be a process of reflection and self-discovery. God is using this season to show them the importance of appreciation, gratitude, and recognizing the value in the people He places in their lives. Through the discomfort of your absence, they are being led toward a deeper understanding of themselves and the relationships they take for granted. For you, this process is a part of God's plan to elevate you. Your leaving is not a sign of failure, it is a divine reordering of your life. While they are grappling with the consequences of their actions, you are moving forward into a new chapter of your life, one that is filled with new opportunities, new relationships, and a greater understanding of your own purpose. Your value has not decreased because of the inability to see it. Instead, it has been affirmed by the divine plan unfolding in your life. Your journey is no longer bound to a place or a person who could not appreciate you. It is now free to soar to new heights where your gifts, your love, and your wisdom will be received by those who will truly honor them. Your absence will serve as a reminder to them, an undeniable truth of what they lost. But more importantly, it will serve as a reminder that in God's perfect timing, every person and every relationship serves a purpose. Your role in their life, though temporarily absent, will never be forgotten. In fact, it may be in your absence that they begin to see you in the way that God always intended. And in that moment, they will come to realize that the peace they seek after losing you is not something they can find through their own means. It is something that will lead them back to God, the source of true peace. For you, your journey is one of elevation. You are moving from a season of undervaluation to one of divine purpose, where the people who truly recognize your worth will surround you. Your absence is not just a loss for them, it is a divine moment for your growth, your healing, and your purpose. As you step into the next phase of your life, you do so knowing that God's plan for you is unfolding perfectly, and those who have lost you will soon come to see the value of what they once took for granted. In conclusion, when people lose you, they are not merely losing someone, they are losing a piece of God's plan that they once had access to. Your absence becomes a profound lesson for them, forcing them to confront their own shortcomings and realize the value they never fully appreciated. While they search for peace and try to fill the void left by your departure, they will ultimately understand that true peace comes from within and from aligning with God's purpose. For you, this is not a setback, but a divine elevation. Your value remains unwavering, and as you step into the fullness of your purpose, you are moving into a future where your gifts will be recognized and embraced by those who are ready to appreciate them. God's plan for your life is always unfolding in perfect timing, and while others may grieve their loss, you are being positioned for greater things. Your journey is just beginning, and those who once failed to recognize your worth will one day come to see the truth. They will never find peace after losing you, but you will find peace in fulfilling the purpose that God has set before you. There comes a time in life when you must come to terms with a painful reality. Not everyone will appreciate who you truly are. Some people will walk away, others will misunderstand you, and some will even reject you. Not because you were wrong, but because you were too real for them. Authenticity carries a weight that not everyone is willing to bear. When you live with integrity, when you refuse to conform to the games of deception, when you stand on truth while others settle for convenience, you become a challenge to those who are comfortable in the shadows. Your presence demands honesty. Your character exposes pretense. And that makes people uncomfortable. But hear me when I tell you, do not lower yourself to fit where you do not belong. You were not created to shrink so that others can feel secure. You were not designed to dim your light so that others can remain in darkness. If being real makes people uneasy, let them go. If your truth offends them, let them walk away. There is no reward in pretending to be less than what you were born to be. Some people only understand shallow waters. They fear the depth of sincerity, the strength of conviction, the purity of heart. They prefer masks over honesty, convenience over commitment, and appearance over substance. And when you show up as your true self, they don't know how to handle it. But that is not your burden to carry. That is their limitation, not your failure. There will be times when you wonder if you should change, if you should soften your stance, if you should compromise just to keep certain people in your life. But the answer is no. Do not betray yourself for the sake of acceptance. Do not trade your authenticity for approval. The right people, those who value truth, those who walk in purpose, those who recognize the weight of sincerity, will embrace you for who you are. So if they left, if they rejected you, if they tried to silence you, do not be discouraged. They were not assigned to your destiny. Their absence is not a loss, it is a revelation. It reveals that your spirit was never meant to be contained by shallow minds. It reveals that your journey requires companions who honor truth, not those who fear it. Keep walking in your authenticity. Keep standing in your integrity. Keep speaking with boldness. Those who cannot handle your realness were never meant to stay. But those who are destined to walk with you will meet you on the path of truth, and they will not be afraid of your light. There is a weight that comes with being authentic. It is not always easy to carry, and it often comes at a cost. The moment you decide to be real, to walk in truth, and to live with integrity, you become different from the crowd. People begin to see you as a challenge rather than an ally. Not because you have done anything wrong, but because your presence reminds them of what they are unwilling to confront within themselves. Many people are comfortable in a world of illusion. They build relationships based on convenience rather than honesty, choosing comfort over growth, appearance over substance. When you show up as your true self, they don't know how to handle it. You become a mirror they don't want to look into, a light that exposes what they prefer to keep hidden. Some will misunderstand you, some will envy you, and some will distance themselves from you, not because of anything you said or did, but because your authenticity disrupts their false sense of security. When you live with conviction, you challenge those who live by compromise. When you stand for something, you make those who stand for nothing feel uncomfortable. It is not your fault that you see through deception, that you refuse to play the games, that you demand honesty in a world that rewards pretense. But understand this, being real will cost you. It will cost you friendships, opportunities, and even acceptance from those you once valued. Yet the price of being authentic is nothing compared to the cost of living a lie. Some people will reject you because they are not ready for the truth you carry. They would rather surround themselves with those who tell them what they want to hear instead of what they need to hear. They will say you are too much, that you are difficult, that you should change to fit in. But the truth is, they simply cannot handle someone who refuses to be anything other than real. And that is not your burden to bear. Truth has a way of unsettling those who have built their lives on deception. When you walk in authenticity, you don't have to expose anyone. Your very presence does it. You don't have to call out their dishonesty. Your character makes it obvious. You don't have to tear down their illusions. Your integrity makes the difference clear. This is why some people will avoid you, resent you, or even oppose you. Not because you have done anything wrong, but because your truth reveals the falsehood they have chosen to live by. People who thrive on manipulation and pretense are uncomfortable around those who live by principle. They do not dislike you because of who you are. They dislike you because of what you represent. You remind them of what they are not. You expose the inconsistencies in their words, the contradictions in their actions, and the emptiness in their intentions. And rather than changing, rather than embracing the light, they choose to reject the one who carries it. This is why some people suddenly turn cold when you refuse to gossip, when you refuse to lie, when you refuse to play along with their games. It is not that you attack them, it is that your decision to be truthful challenges their decision to be false. Your honesty unsettles their deception. Your consistency reveals their instability, and your loyalty exposes their betrayal. You do not have to say a word. Your life speaks louder than anything you could ever say. And so they withdraw. They label you as too serious, too strict, too much. Not because you are wrong, but because you are not like them. They cannot manipulate you. They cannot deceive you. They cannot twist your values to suit their agenda, and that frustrates them. But you must understand, this is not a sign that you should change. It is proof that you are walking in truth. And truth will always make those who live in deception uncomfortable. You were not created to shrink yourself just to make others feel comfortable. You were not designed to water down your values, to silence your voice, or to dim your light so that those around you don't feel insecure. But this is exactly what some people will demand of you. They will want you to lower your standards because your excellence convicts their mediocrity. They will want you to stay quiet because your voice disrupts their faults. They will want you to blend in because your uniqueness makes them uneasy. But the moment you start making yourself smaller for others, you begin to lose yourself. You start second-guessing your decisions, questioning your worth, and compromising your identity. You begin to tolerate what you once stood against just to keep the peace. But peace that requires self-betrayal is not peace. It is a slow erosion of everything that makes you who you are. And for what? To be accepted by people who only love the version of you that benefits them. There are people who only value you when you are convenient for them. They celebrate you when you make them feel good, but criticize you when your presence challenges them to grow. They're fine with you as long as you don't outshine them, as long as you don't rise above them, as long as you don't make them uncomfortable with your truth. And so they push you to shrink. They tell you that you are too much, that you should tone it down, that you should be more like everyone else. But that is not who you were created to be. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. The world does not need more people who conform, who follow the crowd, who trade authenticity for acceptance. The world needs people who are willing to stand firm, to be real, to be bold in their purpose. And if your realness causes others to walk away, let them go. If your light blinds those who prefer the darkness, that is not your concern. You are not sent here to make others comfortable. You are sent here to fulfill your purpose. Some people do not reject you because you are wrong. They reject you because you are too deep for their shallow waters. They are used to a surface level existence where words are empty, actions are performative, and relationships are based on convenience rather than connection. They do not know how to handle someone who is real, someone who thinks beyond the ordinary. To them, your sincerity is intimidating, your wisdom is overwhelming, and your presence is a reminder of the growth they are unwilling to pursue. There are those who prefer small talk over meaningful conversations because deep discussions require vulnerability, and vulnerability requires honesty. And honesty is too uncomfortable for those who have built their lives on deception. They would rather float on the surface than dive into the depths where truth resides. That is why they call you too intense or too serious. It is not because there's something wrong with you. It is because they are afraid of what your depth might reveal about them. You see, people who fear depth will always resist those who carry it. They are content with illusions, so they avoid those who see too clearly. They are comfortable with lies, so they distance themselves from those who speak truth. They do not want to be challenged, so they reject anyone who forces them to think differently. And if you are not careful, they will try to convince you that you are the problem. They will make you feel like your depth is a flaw, that your wisdom is a burden, that your insight is unnecessary. But you must understand, your depth is not a weakness. It is your strength. It is the reason you see what others miss. It is the reason you understand what others cannot comprehend. It is the reason you seek more when others are satisfied with less. And while some may reject you for it, the right people will recognize its value. Those who are meant to walk with you will not be afraid of your depth. They will embrace it. They will not drown in it. They will rise with you. And those who cannot handle it were never meant to journey with you in the first place. Some people do not want a relationship with the real you. They want a version of you that serves their interests. As long as you meet their expectations, as long as you conform to their desires, as long as you fit within the box they have created for you, they will embrace you. But the moment you step outside of that box, the moment you grow beyond their control, the moment you refuse to be manipulated, they turn against you. Not because you have changed in a bad way, but because you have stopped being convenient for them. There are people who only like you when you agree with them. They only support you when you serve their agenda. The moment you develop your own thoughts, your own direction, your own standards, they begin to withdraw. Why? Because they never truly valued you. They only valued what they could get from you. Your kindness was useful to them. Your loyalty was beneficial to them. Your generosity made their lives easier. But when you started thinking for yourself, when you started setting boundaries, when you stopped tolerating disrespect, suddenly you became difficult, selfish, or too much. This is the reality of people who thrive on control. They do not know how to handle someone who cannot be manipulated. They do not know what to do with someone who refuses to be a puppet. So instead of accepting you for who you are, they try to mold you into who they want you to be. And when that no longer works, they discard you. Not because you lost your value, but because you stopped being easy to use. But understand this, when people leave because you will not let them take advantage of you, it is not a loss, it is a lesson. It reveals who was truly for you and who was only there for what they could gain. It exposes who respected you and who only pretended to. And while it may hurt to see them go, it is better to lose people who wanted to use you than to keep them at the cost of losing yourself. Because the right people, the ones who truly appreciate you, will not need to control you to stay. They will love you for who you are, not for what they can take from you. Some people cannot handle your growth because it forces them to confront their own stagnation. They were comfortable with who you used to be because you did not challenge them. You were easy to be around because you were on their level. But the moment you started growing, the moment you started evolving, the moment you began reaching for something higher, they became uncomfortable. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your growth exposed their unwillingness to change. Growth is a mirror. It reveals who is truly committed to becoming better and who is satisfied with staying the same. When you begin to expand your mindset, pursue your purpose, and elevate your standards, it forces the people around you to make a choice. Grow with you or stay behind. And many will choose to stay behind. Not because they can't grow, but because growth requires effort, and effort requires change. Change requires self-reflection. And self-reflection is painful for those who do not want to face their own shortcomings. So instead of celebrating your growth, they criticize it. Instead of being inspired by your progress, they resent it. Instead of supporting your transformation, they distance themselves. They will say you have changed, as if growth is something to be ashamed of. They will accuse you of thinking you are better than them. Not because you said it, but because your elevation makes them feel small. They will try to guilt you into going back to the old version of yourself, the version that did not challenge them, the version that did not make them feel inadequate. But you cannot shrink yourself just to make others feel secure. You cannot stay in places where your growth is seen as a threat. You cannot slow down your progress just because others refuse to move forward. True connections are not threatened by growth. They are strengthened by it. The right people will grow with you, encourage you, and celebrate every step you take toward becoming the person you were created to be. And those who cannot handle your growth were never meant to go where you are going. Let them stay where they are. Keep moving forward. Keep evolving. Keep growing. Because the people who belong in your life will meet you at the level you were meant to reach. Some people will resent you simply because you refuse to pretend. They have built their lives on facades, wearing masks to fit in, saying what people want to hear, doing what is expected of them, even if it means betraying their true selves. But then you come along, honest, unapologetic, and unwilling to play their game. And your authenticity unsettles them. It confronts them. It reminds them of everything they have buried beneath pretense. You see, people who live in deception cannot stand those who live in truth. They thrive in environments where everyone follows the unspoken rules. Smile when you don't mean it. Agree even when you disagree. Suppress your thoughts to avoid discomfort. But you were never meant to be a part of that system. You were given a voice, a mind, and a spirit that refuses to conform to illusions. So when you speak, your words cut through their carefully constructed lies. When you act, your presence disrupts their false sense of control. When you stand firm, your strength exposes their weakness. This is why they reject you, not because you are wrong, but because you are real. And real is something they do not know how to handle. They would rather surround themselves with people who flatter them than people who tell them the truth. They would rather keep relationships that enable their dysfunction than relationships that challenge them to be better. And since you refuse to play along, they push you away. They label you as too much, too honest, too intense. But what they are really saying is, you make me uncomfortable because you remind me of the truth I am running from. Do not take their rejection personally. It is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their fear. It is easier for them to push you away than to confront what your authenticity reveals about them. But understand this, your ability to be real is not a weakness, it is your power. In a world full of imitation, being real is a rare gift, and those who are meant to walk with you will not be threatened by your authenticity, they will cherish it. They will see in you what they long to see in themselves. And they will be drawn to your presence not because you fit in, but because you stand out. Some people will turn against you not because you have done anything wrong, but because you see through them. You see past their words, past their carefully crafted image, past the false humility and rehearsed kindness. You see their real motives, the manipulation behind their generosity, the jealousy behind their compliments, the insecurity behind their confidence, and that terrifies them. Because as long as they can deceive others, they feel in control. But the moment someone sees through the act, they feel exposed. And instead of being honest, instead of admitting their flaws, they see you as a threat. They will call you judgmental, not because you judge them, but because they know you see something they don't want revealed. They will call you difficult, not because you cause problems, but because they can't manipulate you like they do others. They will call you dangerous, not because you have harmed them, but because your presence threatens the image they have spent years maintaining. You do not need to say anything, just being in their presence makes them uncomfortable. And so they will turn on you, not because of who you are, but because of what you see. It is easier for them to push you away than to face the truth. They would rather call you the problem than admit they have been living a lie. They would rather convince others that you are too much than acknowledge that they are not enough. And if you are not careful, they will try to make you question yourself. They will try to make you doubt your ability to see clearly. They will gaslight you, twist reality, and make it seem like you are imagining things. But deep down, they know the truth. You see what they hoped no one would ever notice. But you must never apologize for your discernment. You must never shrink yourself to make others feel safe in their deception. Not everyone will appreciate your ability to see beyond the surface, but those who walk in truth will. The right people will value your insight, not resent it. They will seek your wisdom, not run from it. They will recognize that your ability to see is not a threat, it is a gift. And those who cannot handle it were never meant to walk with you in the first place. Some people were only connected to you because they benefited from your presence. As long as you gave them what they wanted, as long as you met their needs, As long as you played the role they assigned you, they stayed. But the moment you stopped serving their interests, the moment you set boundaries, the moment you expected reciprocity, they changed. They became distant. They became cold. They became resentful. Not because you wronged them, but because they never valued you beyond what you could do for them. There are people who will act like they care, but what they really care about is what you provide. They enjoyed your kindness because it benefited them. They appreciated your loyalty because it gave them security. They celebrated your generosity because it meant they didn't have to give as much. But when the time came for them to be there for you, when the moment arrived for them to pour into you the way you poured into them, they disappeared. And that is when you realize they were not connected to you. They were connected to the access, the convenience, the advantages you provided. It hurts to realize that some relationships were built on conditions you never agreed to. You thought they cared for you as a person, but they only cared for what you brought into their lives. And the moment you stopped fulfilling their unspoken expectations, they left. But understand this, losing people who only loved you for what you could do for them is not a loss. It is a gain, because it removed those who were draining you without giving anything in return. It reveals those who were using you under the disguise of friendship, family, or love. And it makes room for those who will value you not for what you provide, but for who you are. You do not exist to be drained. You do not exist to be used up and discarded when you are no longer convenient. You are not an endless source of energy for people who refuse to pour back into you. And the people who were meant to walk with you, the people who truly belong in your life, will never make you feel like your worth is attached to what you can offer. They will love you even when you have nothing to give. They will stand by you even when you are not at your best. And they will show you that true relationships are built on mutual respect, not one-sided expectations. Some people walked away because they could not control you. They wanted your loyalty, but only if it meant obedience. They wanted your support, but only if it served their agenda. They wanted your presence, but only if you remained silent about the things that made them uncomfortable. The moment you started thinking for yourself, the moment you stopped agreeing with everything they said, the moment you challenged the narrative they had created, they saw you as a problem. Not because you disrespected them, not because you wronged them, but because you refused to be manipulated. There are people who do not want relationships, they want control. They do not want connection, they want submission. And as long as you comply, as long as you fit into the box they created for you, they will embrace you. But the moment you step outside of their expectations, the moment you develop independence, the moment you make it clear that you will not be controlled, they will find a reason to leave. Not because they do not love you, but because they cannot handle someone they cannot manipulate. It is not that you changed, it is that you grew. You became stronger, wiser, more self-aware. You stopped tolerating mistreatment. You started recognizing toxic cycles. You stopped allowing people to dictate your worth. And instead of celebrating your growth, instead of adapting and evolving with you, they chose to walk away, because to them, a version of you that they cannot control is a version they do not want to deal with. They preferred the version of you that was quiet, that accepted less than you deserved, that stayed in situations that were draining you. But the real you, the powerful you, the aware you, the you that refuses to be manipulated, was too much for them. But understand this, people who leave because they cannot control you were never meant to stay. Their departure is not a loss, it is protection. You were never created to be someone's puppet. You were never designed to live under someone else's shadow, to suppress your voice so that others feel comfortable, to shrink yourself to fit into their small expectations. You were made to stand in your truth, to walk in the fullness of your purpose, to live in the freedom of being who you were created to be. And the right people, the ones meant to walk with you, will never require you to be less in order to keep them. They will value you for your strength, not resent you for it. They will love you for your authenticity, not try to silence it. And they will walk beside you, not because they want to control you, but because they truly want to grow with you. You are never too much. You were simply too real for those who were not ready for authenticity. Some people walked away not because you were wrong, but because you were right in ways they were unwilling to admit. They left because your truth made them uncomfortable. Your discernment exposed what they wanted to hide. Your strength disrupted their control, and your presence reminded them of what they lacked. But their departure was not your loss. It was your liberation. Do not grieve the absence of those who could not handle your light. Do not shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You are not created to be tolerated. You are created to be valued. And the right people, the ones who truly see you, will never require you to be less than who you are. They will not run from your truth. They will embrace it. They will not resent your strength. They will celebrate it. And they will not walk away because you are too real. They will stay because they recognize that real is exactly what they have been searching for. There comes a time in every person's life when they are faced with a truth that cannot be ignored. A truth about their past, their choices, and the people who have shaped them. Many of us go through life blaming others for where we are, blaming circumstances, or even blaming ourselves. But today, I want you to understand something profound. It's time to stop looking behind you and start facing what lies ahead. Take, you made me, now face me. You are a product of your decisions, your experiences, and the voices that have spoken into your life. Every word that you heard, every action that you took has built the person you see in the mirror today. But here's the truth that's often hard to accept. No one is responsible for your future but you. You can no longer look at the people who hurt you, the failures that have marked your journey, or the disappointments that have held you captive. You must look forward, because that's where your destiny lies. The world might have tried to define you. They may have placed labels on you or tried to shape you into their image. But what they did to you is not who you are. You are not the sum of your past mistakes or the scars of betrayal. You are the sum of every decision you will make from this moment forward. The people who hurt you, the circumstances that seem to break you, have no power over the person you are becoming. They made you, yes, but now you must stand firm and face who you are meant to be. The strength to move forward lies in the courage to face your own reflection. It's easy to look outward and blame others, but the true challenge is to look inward and see yourself as you are, whole, capable, and with a future that is not defined by your past. What others have done to you is irrelevant in the face of who you choose to become. It's time to stop hiding behind excuses and start standing in your own power. Stop allowing the mistakes of others to dictate your future. Yes, people may have influenced you, but they do not own you. You owe no one an apology for your greatness, and you are not defined by what they think of you. You made the choices, you faced the challenges, and now it's your time to rise. You were made to overcome. You were made to soar. Your future is yours to create. No one has the right to hold you hostage to your past. You are not a victim. You are a victor. It's time to take ownership of your destiny. Stand tall and say, you made me, now face me. You have no more apologies to offer for who you are. Now, let the world see who you truly are, because you are more than the sum of your past. And your future is just beginning. So face what you've become. Stand in the power of your own identity, the power of your decisions, and the power of your potential. What others did to you, it's over. What you do from this moment forward is what matters. You made me, now face me. Because the person standing before you is someone you should respect, someone destined for greatness. You have to understand that growth does not come from external sources alone. It comes from the decisions you make every day. The person you are today, the strengths you possess, and the challenges you've faced are all the result of your own choices, whether you realize it or not. It is easy to look at the world and blame others for the things that have happened to you, to point the finger at circumstances, or to attribute your situation to the actions of others. But let's be clear, none of that will get you to where you need to go. The power to shape your life lies in your own hands. And the first step to true empowerment is accepting that you are the one who has created the person standing before you today. Every action you've taken, every decision you've made, good or bad, has led you to this moment. It's important to acknowledge that it's not just the grand decisions that have shaped you. Even the small, seemingly insignificant moments contributed to your growth. You might think it's the major turning points that define who you are, but in truth, it's a cumulative process. The daily choices you make, how you respond to people, how you react to failure, and how you manage success. All of these have been quietly crafting your identity and your future. This is not to say that you're responsible for every hardship or struggle you've faced, but rather that you hold the key to how you rise from them. No one can force you to stay down after a setback unless you allow them to. No one can define your potential but you. The truth is, you are the author of your own life story. The obstacles you've encountered are simply stepping stones that have prepared you for what's to come. Your growth comes not from blaming others, but from embracing the fact that you are the one who gets to determine how you respond to life's challenges. Life, it's time to stop giving others the power to define who you are. It's time to stop letting your past mistakes, your failures, or even the voices of others dictate your future. Your growth and development are yours to claim. You have been made by your own hands through your decisions, your resilience, and your actions. It's easy to shift the blame, to feel like a victim of life's circumstances. But the true power lies in realizing that you are the one responsible for your growth. You created this version of yourself, and now it's time to step into the next level of your life with full accountability. Only when you accept this responsibility will you begin to understand the magnitude of your potential. The truth is, we spend so much of our lives focused on what has already happened, on things that are behind us, on mistakes made, people lost, or opportunities missed. It's easy to get caught up in what's already been done, to live in the past and let it shape your present. But let me remind you today, what lies ahead is where your destiny resides, not in the rearview mirror. The key to your future is not found by endlessly analyzing what has already been. The key is in moving forward, in looking ahead with clarity, purpose, and resolve. It's time to stop living in the shadows of your past and stop walking toward the light of your future. Too many people get stuck because they can't stop looking backward. They carry the weight of past mistakes, unhealed wounds, and disappointments on their shoulders like a heavy burden, thinking that by constantly reliving the past, they will somehow find the answers they need. But the truth is, your past can never hold the answers to your future. Your past has already served its purpose. It's brought you to this point, but it's not where you should dwell. Every moment that you spend replaying the pain, the hurt, or the regret is a moment you lose from shaping your destiny. When you stop looking backward, you begin to see the possibilities in front of you. You start to realize that the future is full of opportunities, waiting for you to seize them. The more you focus on your past, the more you allow it to define you. But when you turn your attention to what lies ahead, you free yourself from the chains that bind you to old mistakes. You free yourself to pursue new dreams, build new relationships, and create a future that is not dictated by the limitations of the past. Looking forward doesn't mean ignoring what happened or pretending that pain doesn't exist. It means choosing to let the lessons of the past empower you, not imprison you. It means acknowledging that you've learned from what you've gone through, and now it's time to apply that wisdom to what lies ahead. By doing this, you release yourself from the grip of yesterday and step into the power of today. The power of today is in your ability to create something new, to forge new paths, and to embrace new opportunities. You are not bound by the decisions of yesterday, nor by the actions of others. You are free to create and shape the future you deserve. Last, when you begin to face forward, your vision expands. You stop being consumed by the weight of what you've been through and start focusing on the potential of what you can do next. It's not about forgetting your past. It's about learning from it and choosing to move forward, knowing that your future holds everything you've been striving for. Every step you take forward is a declaration that you are no longer the person who was defined by their past, but the person who is stepping into their future with purpose, clarity, and confidence. And that's where your power lies. Your power lies in the decision to face forward, to embrace what's ahead with open arms, and to leave behind the distractions of yesterday. This is where your true potential is unlocked. You see, what often keeps us trapped in the past is not just the memories of our failures, but the emotional scars they leave behind. We hold on to the pain because in some strange way it feels familiar. We get so accustomed to carrying the weight of past disappointments, betrayals, and heartbreaks that we forget what it feels like to walk without that burden. But let me tell you this, the past no longer has the power to control you unless you allow it to. The experiences that once brought you pain do not have to define the direction of your life. The weight of the past, no matter how heavy, can be released. And in doing so, you free yourself to move forward into a new chapter. One of the most powerful acts of liberation is to forgive, not just others, but yourself. There are things that happened in the past that you may have no control over, but you have control over how you carry them. If you continue to hold on to the wounds of the past, they will keep you anchored in a place you no longer belong. Letting go is not about forgetting what happened, but about freeing yourself from the emotional weight that it carries. It's about recognizing that the past was just a chapter in your story, but it is not the entire book. When you choose to release the past, you stop allowing it to cloud your vision of the future. Too many people find themselves stuck in cycles of regret, shame, and guilt, thinking that these emotions are justified or necessary, but they are not. These emotions, while natural, are not meant to imprison you. You are not your mistakes. You are not defined by the relationships that hurt you. You are not bound to the choices that didn't work out. You have the power to take the lessons from those experiences and leave behind the emotional baggage that came with them. It's important to understand that letting go does not mean you're condoning the things that hurt you. It doesn't mean that what happened was right or fair. It means that you are choosing to take control of your future regardless of the past. When you let go, you break free from the chains of resentment and bitterness that hold you hostage. You free your mind, your heart, and your spirit to move forward without the hindrance of emotional baggage weighing you down. In fact, the act of letting go is one of the most empowering decisions you will ever make. It is a declaration that you no longer need to be a prisoner of your past experiences. It is a declaration that you are ready to step into the fullness of who you are meant to be without the limitations of past hurts. You release the power that the past has over you and take back control of your destiny. Release, Jemson. Yeah, by doing this, you make room for healing, for growth, and for new possibilities that can only come when you're unburdened by the things you no longer need to carry. So let go of the past, not just for the sake of peace, but for the sake of your future. You deserve the freedom that comes with it. You deserve the space to grow, to evolve, and to thrive without being weighed down by the mistakes, regrets, and wounds of what has already been. It's time to release the past so that you can truly step into the greatness of what is waiting for you ahead. You are not your past. You are the person who has the power to create a new future. It's time to look in the mirror and truly face who you are. Many of us avoid the truth of ourselves because we're afraid of what we might see. We avoid confronting the person staring back at us because we're too busy seeking validation from others. Or worse, we allow the opinions of others to shape our sense of self-worth. But if you truly want to move forward, if you truly want to step into the fullness of your potential, you have to first make peace with the person you see in the mirror. You must stop looking for someone else to define you and start defining yourself. The truth is, no one else can tell you who you are or who you're meant to be. That is a journey that only you can walk. You've been shaped by the experiences, the decisions, and the relationships in your life. But those things do not have to determine the person you become. You get to decide who you are and who you will be moving forward. The power is in your hands, and it starts by facing yourself in the mirror without fear, without judgment, and without apology. When you look at your reflection, you must see the strength that has carried you this far, the lessons you've learned, and the wisdom you've gained along the way. You must see the greatness that has always been within you, even when the world has tried to make you doubt it. This is not about being perfect. No one is perfect, and the world isn't looking for perfection. It's about being real with yourself. It's about acknowledging your flaws, your strengths, your mistakes, and your triumphs. It's about being honest with yourself about who you are, where you've been, and where you want to go. You can't build the future you desire on a foundation of lies, self-deception, or pretending to be someone you're not. You must stand tall in the truth of who you are. This is where your power lies. When you stop pretending to be someone else and start embracing the fullness of your own identity. It's time to stop seeking approval from people who don't understand your vision. It's time to stop waiting for others to recognize your value. The world may not always affirm you, but you don't need the world's affirmation to move forward. You already have everything you need within you. You have the power to rise, to change, and to create the life you want. But this starts with facing yourself, looking in the mirror and saying, I am enough. You are enough just as you are. The reflection you see is not a reflection of your limitations, but a reflection of your strength, your resilience, and your potential. When you can stand in front of that mirror, face yourself, and acknowledge that you are worthy of everything you desire, that is when true transformation begins. When you can see yourself clearly, without fear or shame, you begin to realize that the only validation you need is the one that comes from within. The world may not always give you what you want, but if you have a strong sense of who you are, you'll never have to seek validation outside yourself again. Your confidence will not be based on someone else's approval, but on the truth that you have all that you need to succeed already inside of you. Now is the time to stand firm in the mirror of your own life and own who you are. No more hiding. No more excuses. the world will see what you believe about yourself. And when you stand in the truth of your identity, nothing will be able to stop you. You are more powerful than you think. And the first step to tapping into that power is simply to look in the mirror, face yourself, and say, I am enough. That declaration changes everything. It opens the door to a future that you have the power to create. And it all begins with you looking at yourself and deciding that you are worthy of everything you dream of. That you are pure intentions and action. You have to understand that nothing in life is random. Every moment, every experience, every encounter holds within it a seed of purpose. Many times we find ourselves in situations that we don't understand, feeling lost or confused, wondering why certain things are happening to us or why life is unfolding in a way that we didn't expect. But the truth is, nothing happens without reason. Everything you have gone through, every challenge you have faced, has been preparing you for something greater. It is shaping you, refining you, and making you ready for the next level of your life. Your circumstances may not always look like the success you want, but behind every struggle is an opportunity for growth. And it's through these challenges that you become the person capable of achieving the dream you've been given. The people who come into your life, the trials you face, and the obstacles that seem insurmountable, they are all part of your preparation. You may not see it at the moment, but they are preparing you for what is to come. Sometimes it is the most difficult situations that equip you with the tools you need to succeed. It's not the easy times that build character. It's the adversity. It's the times when you feel like giving up, when you feel like you can't go on, that you are actually being prepared for the breakthroughs you've been praying for. If you could see your future right now, you would realize that everything you are experiencing is making you stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling the success that is coming your way. But here's the key. You have to trust the process. You have to trust that every experience, whether it's a victory or a failure, is leading you to your ultimate destiny. When you fight against the process, when you resist the lessons that life is trying to teach you, you only delay your growth. The truth is, you cannot rush the process. You cannot skip the steps that are necessary for you to become who you are meant to be. The trials, the pain, the frustration, all of these things are part of the journey, and they are preparing you for something bigger and better. You may not see it now, but trust that everything you are going through is leading you to a place where you will be ready for what you've been asking for. When you start to understand that the challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth, you begin to change your perspective. Instead of being discouraged by difficulties, you begin to embrace them as part of your development. You see that each time you overcome an obstacle, you are growing into the person who can handle the greatness that is coming your way. You are being shaped and refined through the fire, just like gold is refined in the furnace. It is not comfortable, but it is necessary for the greatness you are destined for. As you move forward, understand that everything in your life, even the disappointments, is shaping you for your future. Nothing is wasted. Every moment is a chance to become more of the person you were created to be. So instead of running away from your problems or complaining about your situation, embrace them. See them for what they truly are. Opportunities to develop the strength, the wisdom, and the character necessary to step into the future you were meant for. This is how you grow. This is how you rise. And this is how you prepare for the breakthrough that is coming. Your future is already waiting for you. And everything you've been through is simply preparing you to walk into it with confidence and power. One of the most liberating realizations you will ever come to is the understanding that you are the master of your own destiny. Too many people live their lives in reaction to circumstances, allowing external forces and other people's expectations to dictate their path. But this is not how life was meant to be lived. You were never created to be a passive participant in your own life. You were created to be an active force, a creator of your own story. The key to truly taking control of your life is in understanding the immense power you possess. The power to shape your own reality through your thoughts, your actions, and your choices. So many times we get caught in the trap of blaming others for where we are in life. We look at our current circumstances and we point fingers, whether it's at a boss, a family member, a friend, or even society itself. We say, if only this had been different, I would have done better. If only I had more opportunities, I would be successful. But the truth is, the moment you stop blaming others is the moment you take control of your life. The moment you stop looking outward and start looking inward is the moment you tap into your true power. You see, no one else is responsible for your success or failure but you. Your past may have shaped you, but it does not define you. Your current circumstances may be challenging, but they are not permanent unless you choose to let them be. The power to change, to grow, and to evolve is within you right now. You have the ability to make choices that align with the life you want to create. Every decision, no matter how small, contributes to the trajectory of your future. And it is in these choices that your power lies. The mistake many people make is waiting for the perfect moment, for the perfect conditions to start taking action. But perfection is a myth. The perfect time to begin is always now. You don't need to wait for everything to align perfectly in order to start moving toward your goals. You can create your own opportunities. You can take steps, no matter how small, toward the vision you have for your life. The act of moving forward, of taking responsibility for your actions and decisions, is what sets successful people apart from those who remain stagnant. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about taking action despite the uncertainty, despite the challenges. When you understand that you are in control of your life, it shifts your mindset entirely. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances. You see yourself as a powerful creator. You stop waiting for permission from others and start taking ownership of your own success. You stop living life on autopilot and start making intentional choices that align with the person you want to become. And as you begin to make those choices, something amazing happens. The world begins to shift around you. Opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to open up. Doors that were previously closed suddenly swing wide open. But remember, taking control of your life doesn't mean doing it alone. It means recognizing that you have the ability to choose your path, but it also means choosing to surround yourself with people who support your vision, who challenge you, and who encourage you to be your best. It means seeking out the knowledge and resources that will help you grow and develop. Taking control of your life is not about isolation. It's about empowerment. It's about making the decision to invest in yourself and your future, knowing that the only person who can truly change your life is when you fully embrace your ability to create your own destiny. You stop waiting for someone else to change your life. You understand that the power to shape your future is in your hands, and you begin to make choices that reflect that. You move from a place of passivity to a place of proactive creation. You stop letting life happen to you, and you stop making life happen for you. Every thought, every word, every action you take from this moment forward is a reflection of the power you possess to create your own reality. And as you step into that power, you will begin to see the transformation take place in your life. You are the master of your destiny, and your future is waiting for you to claim it. You must understand that the most powerful tool you have is your ability to believe, your belief in yourself, in your purpose, and in the future you are creating. Many people are caught in the trap of doubting their own potential. They hear the voices of insecurity, they hear the doubts of others, and they hear the lies that tell them they are not capable of achieving their dreams. But the truth is, your belief in yourself is the foundation upon which everything else is built. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. If you don't see the greatness within you, no one else will see it either. Your belief in yourself is the key to unlocking your full potential. And it is what will carry you through the challenges and obstacles that lie ahead. The truth is, the most successful people in the world are not necessarily the ones with the most talent or the most resources. They are the ones who believe in their own potential. They are the ones who have learned to quiet the voice of doubt and replace it with a voice of confidence. They are the ones who have cultivated a belief in their own ability to create the life they desire. They are the ones who have cultivated a belief in their own ability to create the life they desire. And this belief, this unshakable confidence in themselves, is what propels them to take action, to keep going, even when the road is tough, and to achieve things that others might think are impossible. You see, belief is not just a feeling, it is a mindset, a way of thinking, and a way of being. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you approach challenges, and the way you speak about your future. If you truly believe in your potential, you will approach every situation with confidence, knowing that you have the ability to overcome whatever comes your way. Listen, they will approach obstacles as opportunities for growth, knowing that they are part of the process of becoming the person you are meant to be. You will refuse to allow the fear of failure to hold you back, because you know that failure is not the end, but simply a stepping stone towards success. Believing in yourself also means that you stop seeking external validation. So many people base their worth on what others think of them. They live their lives trying to gain the approval of others, constantly seeking recognition and praise. But true confidence comes from within. It comes from understanding that you don't need anyone else's approval to know that you are capable and worthy. Your worth is not determined by someone else's opinion of you, but by your own understanding of who you are and what you are capable of. When you truly believe in yourself, you no longer need the validation of others to feel good about yourself. You know your own worth, and you know that your value is not based on the approval or disapproval of anyone else. The true issue is, when you believe in yourself, you also take responsibility for your actions and decisions. You stop blaming others for your circumstances and start taking ownership of your life. You recognize that you have the power to create the future you want. And you stop waiting for someone else to make it happen for you. You know that you are the one who must take action, make decisions, and face challenges head on. And because you believe in your ability to navigate through life, you take those steps with confidence and conviction, knowing that you are capable of achieving whatever you set your mind to. Believing in yourself also requires that you trust in the process. It means knowing that the road to success will not always be easy, but having the faith that every step, every challenge, every lesson learned is bringing you closer to your goals. It means trusting that the universe, God, or whatever you believe in, has a plan for you, and that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. It means understanding that your journey is uniquely yours, and that everything that has happened and everything that will happen is part of your personal evolution. When you trust in the process, you no longer fear the unknown or the challenges that lie ahead. You know that these are the very things that are preparing you for your future success. Now, the most important part of believing in yourself is understanding that belief is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It's something you must choose every day, especially when faced with doubt, fear, or uncertainty. It's easy to believe in yourself when things are going well. But the true test of your belief comes when you face adversity. It is in those moments when everything seems uncertain that your belief in yourself will be your greatest asset. The more you practice believing in yourself, the more natural it will become, and the more powerful you will become in your ability to create the life you desire. When you believe in yourself, you set the foundation for success. You are no longer bound by the opinions of others, the fears that once held you back, or the limiting beliefs that have been instilled in you. You rise above those things and step into the person you were always meant to be. When you have unshakable belief in yourself, you become unstoppable. You know that no matter what comes your way, you have the strength, the wisdom, and the courage to face it. And with that belief, you will see your dreams unfold in ways you never thought possible. When you embrace the understanding that everything in life is a lesson, you begin to see the world through a different lens. No longer do you view challenges, setbacks, or failures as roadblocks or punishments, but as valuable opportunities for growth and transformation. Each experience, whether positive or negative, has something to teach you. Every encounter, every situation is a step toward your personal evolution. Life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. It is shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for the person you are destined to become. The challenge comes when you fail to recognize the lessons within these experiences. Many people go through life simply reacting to circumstances, allowing the weight of challenges to overwhelm them. They see hardships as something to avoid or something to feel bitter about. They forget that within every difficulty lies a lesson, a key to unlocking a greater version of themselves. The moment you stop viewing challenges as obstacles and start seeing them as teachers, your perspective shifts entirely. What was once a source of frustration becomes a powerful tool for personal development. Take, for instance, the moments of failure. Too often, we let the fear of failure hold us back from pursuing our dreams. But failure is not something to fear. It is an essential part of success. The greatest achievers in history did not reach their goals without facing failure. They faced it head on, learned from it, and used it as a stepping stone toward greater success. Success, they understood that failure is not a reflection of who they are, but rather an opportunity to reassess, to learn, and to improve. Failure teaches resilience, persistence, and the importance of never giving up. It teaches you to embrace imperfection and to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. Without failure, there can be no growth. Similarly, the challenges and obstacles you face are not meant to break you, but to make you stronger. Every challenge you encounter is a test of your character, your resolve, and your ability to adapt. Life will always throw curveballs, but it's in how you respond to those challenges that defines your future. Do you allow them to defeat you, or do you rise above them, wiser and more capable than before? When you see challenges as lessons, you realize that each one has the potential to make you better, stronger, and more prepared for the next phase of your journey. It's through facing adversity that we discover the depth of our inner strength and resilience. Understanding that every experience is a lesson also helps you build emotional intelligence. You begin to see the emotions that arise in difficult situations not as enemies, but as guides. Emotions are powerful signals that point to areas of your life that need attention, healing, or growth. Instead of suppressing or ignoring your emotions, you learn to acknowledge them, understand them, and use them to inform your decisions. For example, feelings of frustration or anger may be pointing to an unmet need or a boundary that has been crossed. Instead of reacting impulsively, you learn to pause, reflect, and then respond with intention. By doing so, you build emotional resilience and a deeper understanding of yourself. Another crucial lesson life offers is the importance of perspective. Often, the way we see things is not the way things truly are. We may get caught in a moment of difficulty and think that our entire world is falling apart. But when we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, we realize that this moment is just a small part of our larger journey. Life's lessons often come disguised as hardship. But it is only when you learn to step outside of your immediate emotions and look at the situation with clarity that you can truly see the lesson it holds. This shift in perspective allows you to approach life with a sense of calm and patience, knowing that challenges are temporary and that the lesson they bring will serve you for the rest of your life. Serve you for the rest of your life. Embracing the idea that life is a series of lessons also means accepting the concept of continuous growth. You are never done learning or evolving. No matter how much you achieve, there is always room for improvement. The more you learn, the more you realize that there is still so much more to discover about yourself and the world around you. Life is an ongoing journey of self-discovery, and every lesson adds a new layer of understanding. The more you embrace this mindset, the more you become open to new ideas, new experiences, and new ways of thinking. This openness to learning is what keeps you adaptable and capable of thriving in an ever-changing world. This mindset of seeing life as a series of lessons empowers you to stay motivated even in the face of difficulty. Instead of asking, "Why me?" when things go wrong, you begin to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" This simple shift in mindset can change everything. When you start asking the right questions, you begin to see solutions where others see only problems. You begin to unlock the wisdom hidden within each experience. And this wisdom propels you forward on your journey, helping you make better decisions, avoid unnecessary pitfalls, and grow into the person you were always meant to be. The lesson you learn from every experience becomes the building block for your future. As you grow in wisdom, you become better equipped to handle whatever comes your way. The challenges of today will no longer feel as overwhelming because you know that they carry with them the opportunity to learn and grow. This is the key to living a fulfilling life, seeing every experience as an opportunity to learn, to become better, and to evolve into the best version of yourself. Life is a classroom, and you are the student who is always learning, always growing, and always moving closer to the greatness you were destined to achieve. The most important thing you can do in life is to recognize that you are the author of your own story. Too many people live their lives as if they are just passengers on a bus, letting life drive them wherever it may. They relinquish their power to external forces, be it other people's opinions, societal expectations, or circumstances beyond their control. They allow their environment, past experiences, and fears to define them. But the moment you step into the awareness that you are the one who is writing the script, everything changes. You realize that you are in control of the direction of your life, that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but a creator of your destiny. You have been given the power of choice. Every single day, in every moment, you have the ability to choose how you respond to the world around you. This power is not just about making decisions. It's about taking full ownership of the life you are creating. You are not just reacting to life's events, you are actively shaping your experiences. Your choices shape your reality. It is your choices shape your reality. You have the ability to decide how you view the world, how you respond to challenges, and most importantly, how you react to setbacks. When you begin to understand that you are the one writing the story of your life, you take back your power. You stop blaming others, stop making excuses, and stop allowing external factors to dictate your happiness or success. You start making decisions based on where you want to go, not where you've been. You see, your past does not define you. It is only a chapter in your story, not the entire narrative. Your history may have shaped you, but it does not have to limit you. Too many people allow their past mistakes, their childhood, or their failures to dictate their future. They let their experiences become their identity. But the truth is, you have the power to reinvent yourself at any given moment. You have the power to decide who you are and who you are becoming. The past is simply a lesson, not a life sentence. You must understand that the chapter you are in today does not define the entire book of your life. The best chapters of your life are still ahead of you, and they are waiting to be written. Moreover, when you recognize that you are the author of your own story, you begin to realize that you are not merely a passive participant in your journey. You are the one who sets the pace, defines the plot, and creates the outcome. You are the one who decides the tone of the story, whether it will be one of triumph and victory or one of struggle and defeat. While it is true that you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can always control your response. So your mindset becomes the lens through which you view the world. If you see obstacles as opportunities to grow, your story becomes one of overcoming, learning, and evolving. If you see challenges as insurmountable roadblocks, then your story will be one of limitation. The choice is always yours. Taking ownership of your story also means embracing the power of your decisions. Every decision you make is the building block of your future. Even the small choices you make daily, how you spend your time, who you spend your energy with, what thoughts you entertain, are all laying the foundation for your future. Many people fail to realize that their habits and decisions today will determine who they become tomorrow. It is the accumulation of these decisions, compounded over time, that creates the life you lead. So when you start making intentional choices that align with your purpose, your values, and your goals, you set the stage for a life that is deliberate, focused, and fulfilling. Look, another key aspect of being the author of your own story is the ability to edit and revise your narrative. Just like any great book, your story is not set in stone. You have the power to change the course of events, to revise the direction in which your life is headed. If something isn't working, you can change it. If a certain chapter is filled with pain or regret, you can write a new one. There is no rule book that says your life must go in a specific direction. You are the one who chooses your path, and when something doesn't feel right, you have the ability to shift and create a new chapter. However, this requires a level of self-awareness. You have to be honest with yourself about the current state of your life and whether it aligns with the story you want to tell. If you are not happy with where you are, it's time to take responsibility for the choices that have led you here. This is not about self-blame. This is about empowerment. You can acknowledge that certain decisions may not have served you well, but you can also acknowledge that the power to move forward is in your hands. You are not stuck unless you choose to remain there. The moment you take responsibility for your life, you open the door to transformation. When you begin to take full ownership of your story, you also stop waiting for permission. Many people live in fear of what others will think or say about their decisions. They wait for approval or validation before they make a move. But when you become the author of your own story, you realize that you don't need anyone's approval to move forward. You are the one who decides what success looks like for you. That is where you must stay on the right path. The key to this is harnessing. You are the one who defines your worth. Lastly, being the author of your own story means embracing the full spectrum of your journey. It means understanding that not every chapter will be easy, not every plot twist will be pleasant, and not every character in your story will support you. But it is in these moments that your greatest growth happens. The hard chapters are just as important as the victories. They shape your resilience, your strength, and your character. So, as you write your story, remember that every experience is adding value to the masterpiece you are creating. When you take ownership of your life, you begin to see that every challenge, every triumph, every mistake, and every victory is part of the rich and beautiful narrative that is uniquely yours. The power of vision cannot be overstated. Vision is what gives life direction, purpose, and meaning. It is the internal compass that guides you through the chaos of life and directs you toward the fulfillment of your destiny. Vision is not just a dream. It is a blueprint of what you can achieve, what you are meant to create, and where you are supposed to go. It is the ability to see beyond your current circumstances, to look past the challenges, and to envision a future that is filled with possibility. Without vision, you are like a ship adrift at sea, lost and directionless, at the mercy of the waves. But with vision, you become a captain of your own ship, steering with purpose, clarity, and determination. Mission is powerful because it aligns your heart, mind, and actions toward a single purpose. It gives you the clarity to make decisions that are in alignment with your goals, the strength to stay focused in the face of distractions, and the persistence to keep moving forward even when the path is not clear. It allows you to see what others cannot see, to believe in possibilities that seem impossible, and to remain confident even in moments of doubt. Vision is the belief in what can be, even when it has not yet manifested. It is the conviction that your future is not defined by your past, that your present circumstances are not your permanent reality, and that what lies ahead is far greater than what you have left behind. When you have vision, you stop living by chance and begin living with intention. Vision empowers you to make decisions with a long-term perspective rather than reacting to the immediate demands of the moment. It helps you recognize that every choice you make today is a step toward the future you desire. It teaches you that your habits, actions, and mindset determine whether you are moving closer to or further away from your goals. Vision provides you with a filter through which to evaluate your actions and decisions. If an opportunity or decision does not align with your vision, you are empowered to say no, knowing that your refusal is not a rejection of the present, but a commitment to the future. Vision helps you prioritize what truly matters, helping you to say yes to the things that will bring you closer to your destiny. There is a profound truth about life. People will always form opinions about you, but their opinions are not your reality. Too often we let others' words, judgments, and perceptions define who we are. But let me tell you this, God did not create you to live in the shadow of someone else's thoughts. You were designed to stand out, to shine, to impose yourself on every circumstance, not because of arrogance, but because of purpose. When God gives you a vision, it often contradicts the opinions of those around you. They will say, "Who do you think you are?" They'll whisper, "You don't belong here," but those voices are nothing more than noise. They are distractions trying to derail you from your destiny. Your worth is not determined by their approval, but by the value God has already placed within you. Imposing yourself doesn't mean you force your way in. It means you show up with the full weight of your calling. You bring the unique gifts, ideas, and strength God has entrusted to you, and you refuse to shrink to make others comfortable. You don't apologize for being bold, for speaking truth, or for pursuing excellence. You don't dim your light because someone else can't handle its brightness. Think of David when he faced Goliath. He wasn't a warrior, wasn't trained in battle, and wasn't even supposed to be there. But he knew that his calling wasn't dependent on the opinions of men. He imposed himself on that battlefield not with force, but with faith. And when he stepped out in confidence, he changed the course of history. There is a profound truth about life. People will always form opinions about you, but their opinions are not your reality. Too often we let others' words, judgments, and perceptions define who we are. But let me tell you this, God did not create you to live in the shadow of someone else's thoughts. You were designed to stand out, to shine, to impose yourself on every circumstance, not because of arrogance, but because of purpose. When God gives you a vision, it often contradicts the opinions of those around you. They will say, "Who do you think you are?" They'll whisper, "You don't belong here," but those voices are nothing more than noise. They are distractions trying to derail you from your destiny. Your worth is not determined by their approval, but by the value God has already placed within you. Imposing yourself doesn't mean you force your way in. It means you show up with the full weight of your calling. You bring the unique gifts, ideas, and strength God has entrusted to you, and you refuse to shrink to make others comfortable. You don't apologize for being bold, for speaking truth, or for pursuing excellence. You don't dim your light because someone else can't handle its brightness. Think of David when he faced Goliath. He wasn't a warrior, wasn't trained in battle, and wasn't even supposed to be there. But he knew that his calling wasn't dependent on the opinions of men. He imposed himself on that battlefield not with force, but with faith. And when he stepped out in confidence, he changed the course of history. That same spirit is in you. The world needs what you carry, and the places God has called you to, you don't need permission to enter. Don't wait for an invitation when you've already been appointed. Don't seek validation from those who can't see what God has shown you. Walk boldly into every room, every opportunity, and every challenge, knowing you were made to bring something no one else can. There will be resistance. There will be those who misunderstand you, who resent your courage, who wish for your failure. But remember this, God is your foundation, and no amount of opposition can move someone who is rooted in divine purpose. You will impose yourself on every limitation because you understand that boundaries are not set by people, they are set by the God who created you. You will impose yourself on fear, doubt, and insecurity because you know that you are more than a conqueror. You will impose yourself on mediocrity because you were not designed to be ordinary. And when you step into who you are, when you fully embrace the weight of your calling, the world will have no choice but to recognize the God within you. Your worth is not determined by the fleeting opinions of people around you. Too often, we allow the voices of others to echo louder than the truth. There is a profound truth about life. People will always form opinions about you, but their opinions are not your reality. Too often, we let others' words, judgments, and perceptions define who we are. But let me tell you this, God did not create you to live in the shadow of someone else's thoughts. You were designed to stand out, to shine, to impose yourself on every circumstance, not because of arrogance, but because of purpose. When God gives you a vision, it often contradicts the opinions of those around you. They will say, "Who do you think you are?" They'll whisper, "You don't belong here," but those voices are nothing more than noise. They are distractions trying to derail you from your destiny. Your worth is not determined by their approval, but by the value God has already placed within you. Imposing yourself doesn't mean you force your way in. It means you show up with the full weight of your calling. You bring the unique gifts, ideas, and strength God has entrusted to you, and you refuse to shrink to make others comfortable. You don't apologize for being bold, for speaking truth, or for pursuing excellence. You don't dim your light because someone else can't handle its brightness. Think of David when he faced Goliath. He wasn't a warrior, wasn't trained in battle, and wasn't even supposed to be there. But he knew that his calling wasn't dependent on the opinions of men. He imposed himself on that battlefield not with force, but with faith. And when he stepped out in confidence, he changed the course of history. That same spirit is in you. The world needs what you carry, and the places God has called you to, you don't need permission to enter. Don't wait for an invitation when you've already been appointed. Don't seek validation from those who can't see what God has shown you. Walk boldly into every room, every opportunity, and every challenge, knowing you were made to bring something no one else can. There will be resistance. There will be those who misunderstand you, who resent your courage, who wish for your failure. But remember, this God is your foundation, and no amount of opposition can move someone who is rooted in divine purpose. You will impose yourself on every limitation because you understand that boundaries are not set by people, they are set by the God who created you. You will impose yourself on fear, doubt, and insecurity because you know that you are more than a conqueror. You will impose yourself on mediocrity because you were not designed to be ordinary. And when you step into who you are, when you fully embrace the weight of your calling, the world will have no choice but to recognize the God within you. Your worth is not determined by the fleeting opinions of people around you. Too often, we allow the voices of others to echo louder than the truth that God has spoken over our lives. The words of critics, the doubts of skeptics, and even the silence of those who should support us can become chains that hold us back. But those chains have no power unless we give them authority. Your value was established long before anyone had an opinion about you. God, in his infinite wisdom, designed you with purpose, intricacy, and intentionality. He placed within you gifts, talents, and abilities that no one else on this earth possesses in the same way. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and nothing anyone says or does can alter that truth. It is vital to understand that the opinions of others often come from a place of their own insecurities or limited understanding. People judge what they don't understand and fear what they cannot control. If you measure your worth by their standards, you will find yourself shrinking, hiding, and questioning the very essence of who you are. But God's measure of your worth is eternal and unchanging. He sees you through the lens of your potential, your purpose, and the unique role you play in his plan. That's why you must reject the lie that says you are less than, unworthy, or incapable. When you truly grasp this truth, something shifts inside of you. You no longer seek approval from people because you realize you already have the ultimate approval from the creator of the universe. You no longer crave validation because you understand that you are already validated by the one who formed you. And this freedom, this confidence allows you to walk boldly into any room, any situation, and any challenge, knowing that you belong not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. The moment you stop looking outward for your worth and start looking upward, you will find a strength that no criticism can diminish, a confidence that no rejection can shake, and a peace that no circumstance can disrupt. You are valuable because God says you are. You matter because he created you with intentionality. And when you walk in that understanding, you impose yourself not as someone demanding attention, but as someone who carries the undeniable presence of divine purpose. You were not placed on this earth to live for the approval of others. The opinions of people are like shifting sand, unstable, unreliable, and ever-changing. One day they may applaud you, and the next day they may criticize you. If your life is built on their approval, you will constantly be chasing a moving target, never truly at peace, and always second-guessing your decisions. But when you recognize that your purpose comes from God, not from man, you step into a freedom that allows you to move with clarity, confidence, and conviction. Living for approval keeps you trapped in a cycle of compromise. You start making decisions not based on what God has called you to do, but on what you think others will like or accept. You silence your voice to avoid conflict. You dim your light to avoid making others uncomfortable, and you hold back your potential to fit into someone else's limited perspective. But that is not why God created you. He didn't give you dreams so you could bury them under fear of judgment. He didn't give you talents so you could hide them in the shadows of others' opinions. Your purpose is too big, your calling is too significant, and your time is too precious to waste it chasing after approval that will never satisfy. When you prioritize purpose over approval, You step into alignment with God's will for your life. His purpose is steady, unchanging, and eternal. It doesn't fluctuate based on what others think about you. It doesn't require you to fit into someone else's mold or conform to their expectations. In fact, often your purpose will challenge the very systems and norms that people hold dear, and that's why they resist it. But their resistance is a confirmation that you're on the right path. If no one ever questions you, if no one ever doubts you, you may not be walking fully in the boldness of your calling. There is power in knowing that your life's mission isn't dependent on the applause of the crowd, but on the quiet, unwavering affirmation of God. When you choose purpose over approval, you are choosing to live a life of significance, not convenience. You're choosing to stand firm in your identity even when it's uncomfortable. And when you do this, you inspire others to do the same. You give them permission to break free from the chains of people pleasing and step into their own God-given purpose. You must understand that the approval of others is temporary, but the purpose of God is eternal. People may not understand you, they may not agree with you, and they may even oppose you. But that's okay. You're not here to gain their favor, you're here to fulfill your assignment. And when you live with that clarity, you become unstoppable, unshakable, and undeniable in the pursuit of the life God has called you to lead. To impose yourself means to show up fully, unapologetically, and with the confidence of knowing who you are and whose you are. It's not about arrogance, it's about alignment. It's about recognizing that every room you walk into, every opportunity you encounter, and every challenge you face is a moment where you bring the full weight of your purpose with you. God didn't create you to be a spectator in your own life. He didn't place greatness within you so you could hide it. You are meant to show up with everything He has given you, your gifts, your ideas, your wisdom, and your courage, and let them speak louder than any doubt, fear, or opposition. Too often, we shrink ourselves to fit into spaces that were never designed to contain us. We silence our voices because we fear they might be too bold. We hold back our ideas because we worry they might be too different. But God's call on your life is not for you to blend in, it's for you to stand out. When you show up fully, you don't just fill a space, you transform it. You shift the atmosphere because you carry something unique that no one else can replicate. And when you walk in that truth, you give others permission to do the same. You inspire them to step into their own greatness. Showing up fully also means rejecting the lies that try to convince you that you're not enough or that you're too much. It's a declaration that you will no longer live in the shadow of fear or doubt. It's a commitment to yourself and to God that you will use what He has placed within you to its fullest potential. You are not an afterthought in God's plan, you are a key player. And that means you must approach every situation with the confidence that you belong, not because of your qualifications, but because of your calling. When you impose yourself, you're not asking for permission to be who you are. You're not waiting for someone to validate your worth or acknowledge your presence. You understand that God has already given you authority to occupy the spaces He's called you to. Whether it's a boardroom, a classroom, a stage, or a battlefield, you show up with the certainty that you are exactly where you're meant to be. You don't apologize for your gifts or your dreams because you know they were given to you for a reason. This isn't about forcing your way in or dominating others. It's about living with the kind of confidence that comes from knowing you're walking in divine purpose. It's about stepping into every moment with the assurance that you are carrying something valuable, something impactful, something the world needs. And when you live like that, the world has no choice but to take notice. You don't have to demand attention. Your presence and purpose will naturally command it. You don't have to seek recognition. Your actions and impact will speak for themselves. Showing up fully is not just a choice. It's an act of obedience to the one who created you. Confidence is often misunderstood as arrogance, but they are worlds apart. Arrogance seeks to elevate self above others, fueled by insecurity and a need for validation. Confidence, however, is rooted in humility and the assurance of who God has made you to be. It is not about proving your worth, but about acknowledging the value that God has already placed within you. True confidence is a quiet strength, a steady conviction that allows you to move through life with purpose and clarity, unaffected by the shifting opinions of those around you. When you walk in confidence, you're not competing with others, You're completing the assignment God has given you. Confidence says, I am enough because God is with me. It's not about having all the answers or being the most talented. It's about knowing that whatever you lack, God has already provided. It's about trusting that the one who called you is faithful to equip you. This kind of confidence isn't boastful. It's unshakable because it is grounded in something greater than yourself. The world often confuses humility with shrinking back, but true humility is the foundation of confidence. It's recognizing that your strength comes from God and not from your own abilities. It's knowing that every gift you possess is a tool to glorify Him, not yourself. Confidence allows you to stand tall, not to overshadow others, but to shine as a reflection of the Creator's light in you. And in doing so, you give glory to God and inspire others to step into their own calling. Confidence is not being loud, it's being certain. It's not about walking into a room and demanding attention. It's about walking in with a presence that cannot be ignored. It's the kind of presence that comes from alignment with your purpose. You don't need to announce yourself because your actions, your faith, and your obedience to God's will speak louder than words ever could. And when you move with that kind of quiet assurance, people notice not because you're trying to impress them, but because your life reflects something extraordinary. People will try to misinterpret your confidence as arrogance. They will project their insecurities onto you and accuse you of being too bold, too ambitious, or too confident. But that is not your burden to carry. Their perception of you is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to be obedient to the call of God on your life. You are not here to make others comfortable. You are here to fulfill your divine purpose. And fulfilling that purpose requires you to walk in the full authority and confidence of who you are in Christ. Confidence also gives you the courage to take risks, to step out in faith, even when the path is uncertain. It allows you to dream bigger than what seems possible, to strive for excellence, and to pursue your goals without fear of failure. Confidence doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It means you face them with the assurance that God is with you and for you. It's a declaration that you trust His plan more than you fear the opinions or resistance of others. When you embrace this kind of confidence, you stop living for applause and start living for impact. You stop worrying about being misunderstood and start focusing on being faithful. And as you walk in that confidence, your life becomes a testament to the power of faith, the strength of purpose, and the grace of God working through you. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. The fruit of your confidence will speak for itself, and it will draw others to the source of your strength. You must understand that your purpose will not always be welcomed by everyone. In fact, there will be moments when it feels as though the very people you hope would celebrate you are the ones who reject or resist you the most. This can be disheartening, but it is also a reality of walking in purpose. Not everyone will understand the vision God has placed in your heart. Not everyone will see the value in your ideas, your contributions, or even your presence. And that's okay. Their rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's often a reflection of their inability to see beyond their own limitations or insecurities. Rejection can feel personal, but often it's not about you at all. When people reject what you bring, it's frequently because your presence challenges their comfort, exposes their insecurities, or disrupts their expectations. Your confidence, your drive, and your faith can make others uncomfortable, not because there's anything wrong with you, but because it highlights something in them they'd rather not face. This is why you must not let rejection deter you. Instead, see it as confirmation that you are moving in alignment with your purpose. Rejection is often a sign that you are stepping into spaces that require growth, courage, and resilience. Remember, even Jesus was rejected. The Savior of the world, the one who came to bring light, life, and salvation, was misunderstood, criticized, and ultimately crucified by those He came to save. If rejection didn't stop Him, why should it stop you? His purpose was too great, His mission too important to be derailed by the opinions of people. And the same is true for you. Your purpose is not tied to whether people accept or approve of you. It is rooted in the call of God, which cannot be revoked by human opinion. Rejection, when viewed through the right lens, is not a setback but a setup for growth. It pushes you to depend more on God and less on people. It strengthens your resolve, clarifies your vision, and sharpens your focus. It teaches you that your value doesn't come from external validation, but from the unchanging truth of who God says you are. Rejection can become a stepping stone if you allow it to propel you forward rather than hold you back. When people reject you, it's important to resist the urge to shrink back or dim your light. Instead, stand firm in your identity and purpose. Show up with even more determination, not to prove them wrong, but to remain faithful to the path God has set before you. Your job is not to convince people of your worth, but to live it out boldly and unapologetically. Over time, the fruit of your obedience will speak louder than any words could, and those who doubted you will have no choice but to acknowledge the impact of your life. So when rejection comes, don't internalize it. Don't let it define you. Instead, let it remind you of the resilience within you and the greatness God has placed in you. Let it push you closer to Him, deepen your faith, and solidify your commitment to your calling. Rejection is not the end. It's often the beginning of a new level of purpose, power, and potential in your life. There is an undeniable truth about purpose. It will always provoke opposition. The moment you decide to walk boldly in the path God has set for you, resistance will arise. This is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is confirmation that you are stepping into something significant. Darkness does not contend with those who remain idle. It rises against those who dare to disrupt it with their light. Opposition is a natural response to the power, influence, and change you bring when you align with your purpose. The enemy is not threatened by mediocrity or complacency. He is threatened by individuals who know their identity in Christ and who have the courage to act on it. When you carry purpose, you carry power. And power draws resistance. This is why, as you step into your calling, you must prepare your mind and spirit for the challenges that will come. You must understand that opposition is not there to break you. It is there to refine you, to strengthen your faith, and to test your resilience. Each challenge is an opportunity to prove to yourself and the world that you will not be deterred by adversity. Opposition often comes in many forms. It can manifest as criticism, doubt, betrayal, or even outright sabotage. Sometimes it comes from the most unexpected places, from those you thought would support you, encourage you, or stand by your side. This can be painful, but it is also revealing. Opposition has a way of exposing the true intentions of those around you. It helps you discern who is genuinely for you and who is only comfortable with you, as long as you remain within the bounds of their expectations. When you face opposition, it's tempting to question yourself, to wonder if you're on the right path or if you're capable of overcoming the obstacles in front of you. But remember this: if God called you, He also equipped you. He knew the resistance you would face, and He provided you with the strength, wisdom, and grace to endure it. The very fact that you're experiencing opposition is evidence that you are carrying something valuable. No one tries to stop someone who poses no threat. Your purpose is a threat to the plans of the enemy, and that is why he seeks to discourage and distract you. Opposition is not just an external force, it can also be internal. Fear, doubt, and insecurity often arise when you step into new levels of purpose. The voice in your mind might try to convince you that you're not ready, not qualified, or not enough. But you must silence that voice with the truth of God's word. You must remind yourself that His strength is made perfect in your weakness, and His grace is sufficient for every challenge you face. Internal opposition is a battle you must win daily by renewing your mind and anchoring yourself in the promises of God. As you navigate opposition, remember that your response matters. You can either let it weaken you or let it refine you. Choose to let it build your character, deepen your dependence on God, and increase your resilience. Opposition is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to prepare you for the weight of the purpose you are carrying. Just as gold is refined by fire, your purpose is refined by the resistance you face. It is in these moments of testing that your true strength is revealed. Do not be discouraged by the resistance. Instead, see it as confirmation that you are on the right path. Embrace it as part of the journey, knowing that every obstacle you overcome is a testament to God's faithfulness in your life. Opposition does not have the power to stop you unless you give it permission. Stand firm in the face of resistance, knowing that the one who called you is greater than anything or anyone that stands against you. When you carry a vision, a purpose planted by God, there is an inevitable tension that arises between where you are and where you are called to be. This tension can often feel like isolation. People who once walked with you may begin to fall away. Conversations that once flowed easily may start to feel forced. It's not that you've changed for the worse, it's that the call on your life is pulling you into a space where not everyone can go. This is not rejection, it's alignment. God is refining your circle because the next season of your life requires people who can handle the weight of your calling. Isolation is not a punishment, it is a preparation. God often removes the noise, the distractions, and the crowd so that he can speak to you more clearly. It is in these moments of solitude that he strengthens your spirit, sharpens your focus, and deepens your understanding of the path ahead. Isolation allows God to strip away the unnecessary and bring clarity to your purpose. What feels like loneliness is often a season of consecration, a time where God sets you apart to prepare you for what is to come. In this season, you may feel misunderstood. People might not grasp the depth of your vision, the weight of your purpose, or the urgency of your mission. They may question your decisions, doubt your intentions, or criticize your progress. But remember, their understanding is not a prerequisite for your obedience. God didn't give them your vision, he gave it to you. And because of that, you must be willing to stand alone, if necessary, to remain faithful to what he has called you to do. Purpose often demands a level of solitude because clarity cannot thrive in the crowd. Isolation also serves as a test of character. It reveals what you truly believe about yourself, about God, and about the vision he has given you. When you are no longer surrounded by applause, approval, or validation, you are forced to confront the source of your confidence and motivation. Is your drive fueled by the opinions of others, or is it rooted in the unwavering belief that God's plan for you is enough? Isolation strips away pretense and pushes you to find your identity and strengthen him alone. In these moments of seeming loneliness, you may feel the urge to shrink back, to compromise, or to conform so that you can fit in again. Resist that urge. You were not created to fit in, you were created to stand out. Your purpose requires you to embrace the discomfort of being different, of being set apart for a greater mission. The very people who misunderstand you today may one day thank you for staying true to your vision. But even if they never do, your obedience will bring glory to God, and that is the ultimate reward. Isolation can also be a time of revelation. It's in the quiet that God often downloads the strategies, insights, and wisdom you need for the next phase of your journey. This is why you must not waste your isolation by complaining or comparing your path to others. Instead, use this time to deepen your relationship with God, to seek his guidance, and to prepare for the opportunities ahead. The most significant breakthroughs often come after a season of solitude, where God has worked behind the scenes to position you for greatness. As you endure this season, understand that isolation is temporary. God is not isolating you to leave you. He is isolating you to elevate you. Just as a seed is buried in the darkness of the soil before it bursts forth into the light, your isolation is a necessary part of your growth. What feels like a burial is actually a planting. And when the time is right, God will bring you into the fullness of your purpose, stronger, wiser, and more equipped than ever before. So embrace the isolation, lean into the silence, trust that God is doing a deep work in you even when you cannot see it. You are not alone. He is with you in every moment, preparing you for a future that is greater than anything you could imagine. One of the greatest challenges you will face on your journey of purpose is the temptation to settle. The pressure to conform, to compromise, or to stay in comfortable situations will always be there. But understand this, your purpose was never meant to be lived in the realm of comfort. It was meant to challenge you, to stretch you, and to push you beyond what you thought was possible. There is a higher calling, a deeper place that God is trying to bring you, and the only way to reach it is to resist the temptation to settle. Settling comes in many forms. It could be choosing safety over risk, mediocrity over excellence, or staying in environments and relationships that drain you instead of nurturing you. It's easy to take the path of least resistance when the challenges seem too great, when the unknown feels too overwhelming, or when the immediate rewards of compromise seem more appealing. But let me remind you, the easy way is often not the best way. It is in the tension, the struggle, and the moments when you push beyond your comfort zone that true growth happens. It's easy to look around and see others who seem to have figured it all out. You might see their success, their stability, and think, I'll never get there, or maybe I'm just not cut out for that kind of greatness. But what you may not realize is that they too had to make choices. They too had to resist the temptation to settle for what was easy. Every great person you admire went through a season where they had to make a decision to settle for the familiar or to press into the discomfort of the unknown in order to achieve something greater. And that's the decision you must make today. When you settle, you stop evolving. Purpose is a dynamic, ever-moving force that requires you to continually grow, learn, and adapt. Settling is stagnation. It's stopping in your tracks because the road ahead seems too difficult. But growth happens in the pushing, in the tension, and in the willingness to move forward, even when the next step isn't clear. God doesn't call us to settle. He calls us to soar, to reach for things that seem impossible, to stretch our faith beyond our current capacity. In moments when you feel the urge to settle, ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Is it failure? The possibility of not succeeding, the fear of making mistakes. Every great accomplishment is preceded by failure, by mistakes, by missteps. These are not indicators that you are on the wrong path. They are the building blocks of your success. Your mistakes are not the end. They are the lessons that prepare you for greatness. The reality is that you are not called to live a small life. You are not meant to blend in with the crowd, to play it safe, or to live below your potential. You are called to stand out, to make an impact, and to fulfill the unique purpose that God has entrusted to you. And in order to do that, you must be willing to rise above the temptation to settle for what's comfortable and ordinary. You must press forward even when the road gets tough. Because on the other side of your perseverance is the reward of fulfillment, purpose, and legacy. Never forget that settling is the enemy of progress. God's call on your life is too important, too significant to be confined to the limits of comfort. You were made for more. You were made to challenge the status quo, to break barriers, and to create something that lasts. And in order to do that, you must refuse to settle, refuse to shrink back, and refuse to live below the calling that God has placed on your life. So no matter where you are right now, no matter how comfortable the current season may feel, don't let that comfort blind you to the greatness ahead. Refuse to settle. Keep pressing forward, keep believing for more, and trust that God is leading you into something greater than you can imagine. Your destiny is calling you, and the only thing standing between you and it is your willingness to let go of comfort and embrace the discomfort of growth. That is where the true transformation happens. The journey of imposing yourself on others, the journey of standing firm in your purpose, and the journey of fulfilling your God-given destiny is not just a path of personal growth. It is also a path that leads to influence. When you live according to your calling and vision, when you decide that you will no longer settle for less than God's best for you, you begin to exert an influence that cannot be ignored. The lives of others are transformed, impacted, and elevated because of the light that you shine in the world. However, you must understand that this influence will not always come immediately, and it will not always come from the people you expect. Influence is often developed in the quiet moments behind the scenes where you are faithful in doing the work that others may not see. It is cultivated in the small, seemingly insignificant actions, your integrity, your faith, your consistency, your willingness to continue when no one is watching. These actions build your credibility and the trust of those around you. As you continue to walk in the fullness of your purpose, you begin to rise. People will start to notice that you are different, not in an arrogant or boastful way, but in a way that points to the power of God within you. Your dedication, your resilience, and your unwavering faith will begin to create ripples that touch others in profound ways. Your actions speak louder than words, and people will begin to gravitate towards your energy, your vision, and your ability to overcome adversity. In this process, you must also remember that influence is a responsibility. It is not meant to be used for personal gain or to build your own kingdom. The power of influence is entrusted to you by God, and it is meant to be used to lift others, to encourage them, and to guide them to their own purpose. The more you impose yourself, the more you allow God's light to shine through you, the more you will be called to serve others in a greater capacity. Influence is not about control, it is about service. It is about leading by example, showing others that with faith, resilience, and a clear vision, they too can overcome obstacles and achieve greatness. But don't be discouraged if it feels like people don't immediately recognize your influence. There may be times when you are working diligently in silence, giving your all, and it seems like no one is watching. You may feel unseen or unappreciated, but understand that your efforts are not in vain. God sees every step you take, every sacrifice you make, and every moment you choose to stay faithful to your calling. Your influence is being established in ways you cannot yet see. Keep moving forward, keep being consistent, and trust that God will use your life to influence others in ways beyond what you can imagine. There will be times when you may feel the weight of this influence, especially as your influence grows. You may feel a sense of pressure or fear of not being able to live up to expectations, but remember, the greatest leaders and influencers are those who rely not on their own strength, but on God's guidance. He equips those he calls. His grace is sufficient for you, and his strength will carry you through every challenge and every obstacle. The more you live out your purpose and impose your vision, the more you will find that you are not just living for yourself. You are living for those who are watching you, whether they are aware of it or not, and for those whose lives you will touch by simply being faithful to what God has called you to do. Your influence will inspire others to rise above their own limitations and to believe in their own ability to succeed, because you will be a living testament to the fact that with God, all things are possible. And so as you continue to walk the path of imposing yourself on others through your actions, your dedication, and your unwavering commitment to your purpose, know this: the influence you are building will have lasting effects. You are not just changing your own life, you are changing the lives of those around you. And that influence will extend far beyond what you can see today. Your obedience to your calling will open doors for others to walk through, and they will be empowered to walk their own paths of greatness because you showed them the way. Your influence will live on, shaping the generations to come and impacting lives in ways you may never fully comprehend. That is the power of living with purpose and imposing yourself on the world. When you begin to understand that you are called to impose yourself on the world, you realize that the opposition you face is not just a challenge, it is part of the process of your transformation. The moment you decide to rise up, to step into the fullness of your purpose and to make an impact, opposition will come. It's inevitable. But let me tell you something crucial: opposition is a sign that you are on the right track. If you are not encountering resistance, if you are not facing obstacles, then perhaps you are not yet operating at the level that God has designed for you. The greater the opposition, the greater the opportunity for growth, transformation, and impact. Opposition does not mean you are failing, it means you are moving forward. Every great leader, every individual who has ever made a significant impact in this world has faced opposition. It's the natural response of the world to the greatness that is within you.